My son kicked me out of my own oceanfront villa. "This is my party, Dad. You're not welcome here." I smiled silently, waited calmly until 11 p.m., and turned off the lights throughout the house. Darkness, silence, and then a voice rang out, and the party was over forever. Before we continue, please subscribe to the channel and let us know where you are listening in the comments. The glasses didn't clink. Years of stage work taught me that. How to move crystal without sound. I stood in the doorway, tray balanced, watching Fletcher gesture at my vaulted ceiling like a conductor leading an orchestra. "This place will be mine soon enough." His voice carried that smooth confidence. Aged whiskey, if whiskey could lie. The couple in front of him, tailored suits, tablets out, nodded. Wrote something down, looked at the ocean view through my floor-to-ceiling windows with appraising eyes. My jaw locked. I stepped back. Kitchen shadow swallowed me whole. Through the doorway, Fletcher guided them toward the terrace. My terrace. Except he walked like he owned it, talked like he built it. Something was wrong, very wrong. This started 2 days ago. Fletcher called, voice bright with enthusiasm. "Dad, huge favor. Can I host a networking event at the villa? 30 people, 40 tops. Nothing crazy." I'd said yes. Why wouldn't I? Helped him arrange furniture yesterday. Stocked the bar. Set up my old sound system, muscle memory from Hollywood years, 1970s through 2005. Mixing boards and microphones and million-dollar films. Retired now, 68 years old. Cannon Beach Villa. My reward for 4 decades of acoustic perfection. Except Fletcher was giving tours of my reward to strangers. I moved through the living room. 7 o'clock had brought the first guests. By 8, 40 people filled my home. Fletcher introduced them as business partners, tech investors, consultants. But their questions weren't about business. They asked about square footage, property value, ocean access, renovation history. Fletcher answered everything, lied about half of it. The architectural decisions we made during renovation. I renovated this place alone in 2015. Fletcher was in Portland, 2 hours inland, doing whatever Fletcher does. Growing up with ocean sounds. He grew up in Portland. No ocean sounds unless the Willamette River learned to make waves. I picked up empty wine glasses, moved like furniture, invisible. Theater taught me that too. Stagehands exist in shadows. "Hosea!" A woman's voice. I turned, didn't recognize her. Blonde, expensive jewelry. "This home is incredible. Fletcher said you designed the acoustics yourself?" "I did." "He's being modest." Fletcher appeared, arm around my shoulders, squeezed, too hard. "Dad's a legend, 40 years in Hollywood sound design, but I handled the renovation execution, the technical details." The blonde smiled. "Family project." "Exactly." Fletcher's grip tightened. Dad had vision. I made it reality. I smiled back, excused myself, returned to the kitchen. My hands shook arranging canapes. Just tired, I told myself. Big crowd, but I wasn't tired. I was afraid. Maud entered, my daughter, Fletcher's wife, 40 years old, beautiful like her mother. "Dad, you okay?" "Fine, sweetheart. Just need a minute." She kissed my cheek. "Love you." "Love you too." She left. I watched her go, wondered if she knew, wondered if I was crazy. Maybe Fletcher really was just networking. Maybe I was getting paranoid in my old age, except I'd heard what he said. "This place will be mine soon enough." I pulled out my phone, pretended to check messages, angled the camera toward the living room, clicked. Fletcher guiding another couple past my vintage sound equipment display. The couple taking notes, Fletcher gesturing broadly, click, click. Years working with cameras on film sets made this automatic. I captured faces, conversations, evidence of something I couldn't name yet. One guest noticed, gave me an odd look. I smiled, waved the phone. "Family photos." He nodded, walked away. I needed air, needed space, needed to think. I took the back stairs down to my basement studio, told Maud I was fetching more wine from storage. The basement smelled like dust and memories. My equipment filled the space, mixing boards from Paramount Productions, reel-to-reel recorders, speakers that cost more than cars when I bought them in 1978, microphones used on Oscar-winning films, I touched a familiar console, ran my fingers over knobs I'd adjusted 10,000 times. This space was mine, really mine, my sanctuary when the world got loud. Ideas began forming, shapeless, dangerous. I pushed them away. Upstairs, laughter echoed, Fletcher's voice rising above the crowd, holding court in my home. I grabbed 2 wine bottles, returned to the party. Fletcher was near the fireplace. I approached with careful casualness. "Fletcher, enjoying yourself?" He turned, smile too bright. "Dad, perfect party. These connections are gold. Noticed you showing people around? Quite the tour guide. Just being a good host." "Actually," I kept my voice light. "Wanted to ask about that paperwork you mentioned last month. Estate planning. My attorney called today." His face changed. Flashed something. Panic, concern, before smoothing to practiced worry. "Dad, not now. We'll discuss it after your guests leave." "Your guests, not our guests." "My guests?" "I mean, after everyone leaves. Later. Enjoy the party." He walked away fast. Left me standing there holding wine bottles like an idiot. I set them down, went to the bathroom, locked the door, stared at my reflection. Gray hair, 68 years, lines around my eyes from decades of squinting at audio levels in dark studios. I looked old, felt older, pulled out my phone, dialed. "Dad?" Orville's voice. My son in Texas, 42 years old, software engineer, smart like his mother. "Everything okay? Isn't Fletcher's party tonight?" "That's why I'm calling." I kept my voice low, steady. "Something's wrong. I need you to look into Fletcher's finances, legal records, anything you can find." Pause. "Dad, what happened?" "I'll explain later. Trust me. Don't tell Maud yet." "You're scaring me." "Good. I'm scared too." I hung up, washed my hands, dried them, looked at my reflection again, decided something, not sure what, but something. Returned to the party, smiled, nodded, played the gracious host, watched Fletcher work the room like a politician, watched my daughter laugh at his jokes, watched strangers evaluate my home with calculating eyes. Around 10, guests started leaving. The crowd thinned. Fletcher walked people to the door, shook hands, made promises. "I'll send those projections. Let's schedule a meeting." This is just the beginning. I loaded the dishwasher, scraped plates, washed wine glasses, mechanical movements, my mind elsewhere. "Great party, Dad." I didn't turn. Fletcher stood in the doorway, loosened tie, wine glass in hand, satisfied smile. "Thanks for letting me use the place." Use. Interesting word choice. Use? You know what I mean, host, whatever. I turned off the water, dried my hands, turned slowly, looked at him directly for the first time all evening, really looked at him. "Those weren't business partners." His smile froze. "What?" "Those people, they weren't partners. They were buyers." Silence. Ocean waves through the open window, salt air, my house, my sanctuary. "Dad, I don't know what you... This place will be mine soon enough." I quoted him exactly, same inflection, same smooth confidence. Fletcher's face went carefully neutral. He set his wine glass down, precise movement, controlled. Then he smiled, different smile, cold. "You've always been too smart for your own good." "There you two are!" Maud burst into the kitchen, oblivious, happy. "Fletcher, the Hendersons are leaving. You should say goodbye." Fletcher's mask snapped on, warm smile, relaxed shoulders. The transformation took half a second. "Be right there, honey." Maud touched my arm. "Dad, you look exhausted. Maybe call it a night?" "I'm fine, sweetheart." Fletcher walked past me, paused, leaned close, voice low. "We'll finish this conversation later. Enjoy the rest of your party." The emphasis on your was mocking. Ownership in reverse. He left. Maud followed. I stood alone in my kitchen. My hands found the counter edge, gripped, hard, knuckles white. This was rage. This was fear. This was something I hadn't felt in decades. 3 deep breaths. Old theater trick. Control your breathing, control the performance. Except, I wasn't performing anymore. I was planning. The party continued. Half the guests remained. 20, maybe 25 people. Most had migrated to the terrace. Evening air, ocean view, the sound of waves against rocks. I decided to keep playing my role, the gracious host, the confused old man. Give Fletcher enough rope. I refilled drinks, cleared plates, made small talk. But now I cataloged everything: names, faces, who Fletcher spent time with, what questions they asked, how he responded. Around 8:30, I prepared fresh appetizers, smoked salmon canapés, my specialty. The terrace was where everyone gathered. I arranged them on my good serving tray. Crystal wedding gift from 1982, survived 2 moves and 40 years of parties. Slid open the glass doors. Cool air hit my face. Stepped onto the deck. Fletcher saw me coming. Flash of annoyance before he moved to intercept. "Dad." Loud, projecting. "What are you doing?" I stopped. Tray balanced perfectly. Years of carrying equipment made this automatic. Bringing out appetizers, I made, "These are my guests." He took the tray from my hands, not gently. Removed it like I was a child playing with something dangerous. The nearby group went silent. 5 people, well-dressed, tablets out. Evaluating expressions. "You're making this awkward." I felt every eye on me. The ocean sounds got louder somehow, or everything else got quieter. "I live here, Fletcher, just being hospitable." "This is my party." Louder now, establishing something. "Why don't you go upstairs, rest? You've done enough." A woman in the group laughed, nervous, looked away fast. I had a choice: confront or retreat, fight or flight. 40 years in Hollywood taught me timing. This wasn't my moment yet. "Ah, I see. My mistake." Turned, walked back inside. Dignity intact, authority shattered. As I reached the sliding door, Fletcher's voice carried, stage whisper, clearly audible. "Sorry about that. He's getting old, you know. Forgets his place." Polite laughter, sympathetic. Poor Fletcher, dealing with his aging father-in-law. I climbed stairs to my bedroom, sat on the bed edge. Through the open window, the party continued. Music, voices, laughter. In my home, my sanctuary. Photos on the dresser, Maud as a child, my late wife. The villa under construction, 2005. 20 years of memories. Fletcher was trying to take it. Had possibly already taken it. The rage was different now. Cold, surgical, focused. I opened my laptop, hands shaking, typed, "Property fraud, Oregon," enter. "Power of attorney abuse," enter. "Estate theft by family members," enter. Articles loaded, legal definitions, case studies. My anger made me sloppy. This was stupid. Digital trail. Evidence of suspicion. My phone buzzed. Text from Orville. "Found something. Fletcher has 180 coals in debts, mostly crypto losses. He's desperate, Dad." Crypto. Of course. Everyone's get-rich-quick scheme. Fletcher's get-poor-quick reality. I texted back, "It's worse than I thought. He humiliated me at my own party, in front of everyone." Orville responded immediately. "What? What did he do?" "Told me to go upstairs. Said I'm making things awkward. His guests. His party." "In your house?" "My house. His party. Apparently." "I'm looking into his finances right now. This is insane." "Don't call. I'm fine. Just needed to tell someone." "You're not fine. Neither am I. This ends badly for him, Dad." "Yes, it does." Period. Finality. Promise. Knock on my door. "Dad?" Maud's voice. I closed the laptop, opened the door. "You disappeared." "Just tired. Big crowd." "Fletcher said you weren't feeling well." Concerned face. Caring. My daughter, who I love more than anything. "Fletcher said that?" "He's worried about you. Said you seemed confused earlier." Confused. Right. The narrative was being written. Old man losing it. Can't handle his own party. Needs help. Needs management. "I'm fine. The party's wonderful. You two have fun." "You sure?" "Positive. Going to read, then sleep. You enjoy your husband's success." She missed the edge in my voice. "Love you, Dad." "Love you too, sweetheart." I meant it. That's what made this hurt. She left. I waited, listened to her footsteps fade. Then I went to my closet, pulled down a box from the top shelf. Old contracts inside, studio photographs, lifetime of connections. Below that, keys to the basement studio. Took the back stairs down, avoided the party. The basement was cool, perfect temperature for preserving equipment. Flipped the light switch. Rows of vintage sound equipment illuminated. Mixing boards from Paramount. Reel-to-reel recorders. Speakers worth thousands. Microphones used on Oscar-winning films. And in the corner, my special collection. Equipment most people didn't know existed. Infrasound generators, ultrasonic emitters, acoustic weapons for military research projects I'd consulted on in the 1990s. I ran my hand over a familiar console. 40 years perfecting illusions. Picked up the infrasound generator. Small device. Looked like an old radio. Held it to the light like a jeweler examining a diamond. 1994. The Haunting of Hill House remake. This beauty made grown men cry. I tested it briefly. 18 hertz. Subsonic. Inaudible. Immediate unease washed over me. Nausea. Dread. The frequency of fear. Turned it off. The feeling faded. Smiled. Fletcher wants to steal my house? Looked at my collection. Years of expertise. Decades of knowledge. Tools most people couldn't imagine. Let's see how he handles Act 2. Sat at the mixing board. Began sketching plans on a notepad. Frequencies. Speaker placement. Timing. My phone buzzed again. Orville. Found something. Fletcher has 180Ks in debts. Mostly crypto losses. He's desperate, Dad. I read it. Nodded. The pieces aligned. Fletcher needed money. The villa was worth $850,000. Simple math. Footsteps above. The party was winding down. I checked my watch. 10:15. Soon they'd all leave. Fletcher and Maud would probably stay the night. Too far to drive back to Portland late. They'd mentioned it earlier. My phone rang. Unknown number. I almost ignored it. Answered. Hello? Mr. Sims? Professional woman's voice. Late evening call from a business number. Unusual. Speaking. This is Angela Chen from Pacific Northwest Title Company. I'm calling about the property transfer documents we received for 417 Ocean View Drive. We have some questions before we can process. My stomach dropped. I'm sorry. What documents? Pause. Papers rustling. The power of attorney and preliminary transfer of deed, filed by Fletcher Morrison on your behalf. You weren't aware? The room tilted. My hand tightened on the phone. No, I was not aware. Mr. Sims, you should contact your attorney immediately. These documents indicate you're transferring ownership of your property. The filing date is... More rustling. 3 days ago, before Fletcher asked to host the party. Before I said yes. Before I helped him set up. He'd filed to steal my house, then asked permission to party in it. Mr. Sims? My voice came out calm. Very calm. The calmest I'd been all evening. Thank you for calling. I'll handle this. Hung up. Looked at my sound equipment, then up at the ceiling where a party noise continued. Fletcher's voice, Maud's laugh, strangers in my home. Smiled slowly. Picked up the infrasound generator. Time for a show. The phone sat on the mixing board, cold plastic against wood. Documents filed 3 days ago. Angela Chen's words kept looping. My hand was steady now. Shock crystallized to something harder. Upstairs, Fletcher's voice rose above the laughter, telling stories, selling my house to strangers while standing in it. I picked up the infrasound generator. Small, innocent looking, deadly when used correctly. Time for rehearsal. The storage cabinet opened with a creak. Wooden case inside, covered in dust. I wiped the lid, unlatched it. Portable speakers from a 1970s outdoor Shakespeare production. Weatherproof. Powerful. Green light when I plugged one in. Perfect. Theater instinct kicked in. Check your equipment before opening night. I wasn't planning elaborate long-term revenge. Not yet. Right now, I wanted to disrupt Fletcher's victory lap. Ruin his performance. Make a statement. The bigger plan would come later. My watch read 10:45. Party was winding down, but Fletcher and his serious investors remained. I had maybe an hour, perfect timing for a haunting. I inventoried quickly. Infrasound generator, tested it minutes ago, worked perfectly. Ghost voice recordings from 1940s radio dramas on magnetic tape. But I had digital transfers, the speakers. And then I remembered. The holographic projector. Victorian ghost story film. Studio wanted practical effects, no CGI. We used Pepper's ghost technique with modern projection. I kept the equipment when production wrapped. Primitive now, but in darkness, with scared people, it'd work. I needed speaker placement. The basement had crawl spaces built into the foundation. Original owner feared earthquakes, designed redundant utility corridors. I'd used them for maintenance over the years. Now they'd serve a different purpose. First speaker, hall closet. I crawled through the narrow passage dragging cables. My knees protested. 68, not 28. But adrenaline compensated. I emerged behind winter coats, positioned the speaker, angled it for maximum coverage. Back down. Second speaker, kitchen pantry, tighter passage. My shoulders barely fit. I squeezed through, emerged behind large appliances, placed it, retreated. 3 more speakers, living room, guest bathroom, near the terrace. My back ached, dust filled my lungs. But I moved like I was 20 years younger, powered by rage and purpose. At 10:50, setup complete. I pulled out my phone, dialed. "Dad?" Orville answered immediately. "Everything okay?" "Son, remember that Halloween prank we pulled in '95? Pause. "The fog machine thing?" "Dad, I was 15. Why are you—" He stopped. "What's happening right now?" "Fletcher's upstairs, still performing for his investors, in my house. I'm going to remind him this house has character." "You're going to haunt him?" Orville laughed, then realized I wasn't joking. "Dad, you're 70, not 17. 68, and yes. This is insane. Beat. I love it. But also, this is insane. I need you to do something. Research Fletcher's financial records, credit reports, business filings, everything. I'm already on it, found some stuff. But Dad, be careful. Don't hurt yourself crawling around. I've been crawling through Hollywood sets since before you were born. I've got this." Famous last words. I hung up. Checked my control center. Laptop with security camera feeds, remote controls for speakers, manual switches for effects, main breaker within reach. I created a sequence list on a notepad. 1. Cut power. 2. Wait 30 seconds. 3. Start infrasound. 4. Wait 20 seconds. 5. Play ghost voice. 6. Activate fog. 7. Trigger hologram, like a director's shot list. Before executing, I recorded a quick video on my phone, statement to myself. If Fletcher Morrison tried to steal my home while hosting a party in it, he humiliated me in front of strangers. He filed fraudulent documents. This is just the opening act. Saved it to cloud storage. Through the crawl space earlier, I'd found something unexpected. A document folder behind the living room wall. Dusty, forgotten. Inside, original architectural plans from 2005, and paper clipped to them, a handwritten note from my late wife. "Hosea, if you're reading this, you're hiding in the walls again. Remember, this house is yours. You worked 40 years for it. Don't let anyone, even family, make you feel like you don't belong here. The villa is your legacy, your reward, your home. Protect it. Love, E." She died in 2017, 5 years ago. She'd left this note knowing my personality, knowing someday I might need it. My hand shook slightly, then steadied. I folded the note, put it in my pocket. At 10:58, I was positioned. Security cameras showed Fletcher on the terrace with 4 guests, the serious investors, discussing timelines, paperwork, financing. Maud was in the kitchen, cleaning, oblivious. My hand hovered over the breaker switch. One moment of doubt. Was this petty? Then Fletcher's voice came through the speaker system, clear and cruel. "The old man's easy to manage. A little confusion, some paperwork, and this place transfers smoothly." I flipped the breaker at exactly 11 SEU. Total darkness. On my laptop, running on battery, I watched the camera feeds. Cameras had battery backup. Phone flashlights appeared upstairs, confused voices. Fletcher moving toward what he thought was the breaker panel. Wrong location. I activated the infrasound generator. 18 hertz. Inaudible but broadcasting through the house structure. On camera, subtle reactions. People shifted, looked around. One woman put her hand to her stomach. The frequency caused unconscious anxiety, sense of presence, mild nausea. 20 seconds of infrasound. I reach for the audio console to play the ghost voice recording, the centerpiece effect. The 1940s radio voice saying, "This house was built on bones." My hand hovered over play. I took a breath. Point of no return. I pressed it. Nothing happened. The speaker system didn't activate. I checked the connection. Cable ran to a powered amplifier, which needed electricity, which I just cut. Amateur mistake. On camera, Fletcher found a flashlight, started directing people. "Everyone stay calm. The breaker's probably..." I cursed quietly. Scrambled for backup. Battery-powered bullhorn somewhere in these boxes. My flashlight battery was dying. Then someone upstairs said, "Did you hear that?" I froze. Heard what? I hadn't played anything. Then I heard it too. Coming from inside the walls. Low creaking. Then a voice, faint, distorted. "Leave!" But I hadn't triggered anything. My equipment wasn't running. On the security feed, Fletcher went white. A woman screamed. The voice came again, louder, from everywhere and nowhere. This house was built on bones. I stared at my unpowered equipment, then at the camera feed showing terrified guests. I didn't do that. So, who did? My mind raced through possibilities. Equipment malfunction? No, nothing was connected. Someone else in the house? I'd been monitoring cameras. Acoustic phenomenon? Maybe the infrasound triggered something structural? Then I saw it, my phone screen, glowing. Incoming call from Orville. Auto answered. Bluetooth hands-free feature. The voice was coming through my unpowered speakers. They were picking up my phone's Bluetooth signal. Orville's voice, distorted through the speaker system, sounded otherworldly. Dad, can you hear me? I just found..." The infrasound created atmospheric distortion, made his voice demonic. On camera, guests were panicking. Fletcher tried to regain control. "It's just a prank! The old man's pranking us!" I grabbed the phone, made a split-second decision. Lean into the accident. "Orville, stay on the line and say exactly what I tell you." "What?" "Dad, I can't hear you well. Your voice is broadcasting through the house speakers. The guests think you're a spirit. Say exactly what I tell you. Low voice, slow." "You're using me as the haunting?" "Yes, now say, 'This house will not be stolen.' Go." Hesitation. Then Orville committed. "This house will not be stolen." Through the speakers, his voice boomed. Perfect. Terrifying. I watched the camera feed. Guests froze, eyes wide. "Perfect. Again, leave this place. Leave this place. You're doing great. Now, Fletcher Morrison, you are not welcome." "Dad, this is insane. Also amazing. Also insane." "Just say it." Orville deepened his voice. "Fletcher Morrison, you are not welcome." Screaming erupted upstairs. "Was that screaming?" Orville asked. "That's the sound of success." Fletcher yelled, "Everyone, stay calm. This is a prank." A woman's voice. "A prank? There's a voice." "It's a recording. The old man set up a recording." The investor man. "I don't care what it is. I'm leaving." "Wait, the house is not haunted. It's technology." But logic failed against genuine fear. One woman bolted for the door. 2 men followed. I needed visuals. The holographic projector wouldn't work. Needed main power. I improvised, grabbed my flashlight, found textured glass from an old picture frame, ran to the first floor vent, angled the flashlight through the glass. Distorted, wavering light projected onto the hallway wall. Old theater trick, suggestion beats reality. On camera. "What is that?" someone screamed. The apparition seemed to move. Guests stampeded toward the exit. Fletcher was losing control. "Wait, it's not real." But the investor man was backing away. "I'm out. This place is cursed. Deal's off." He ran. 5 more guests fled. I experienced a moment of triumph. Then I switched camera views. Maud, kitchen, alone, crying, hand over mouth. Tears streaming. She looked small, vulnerable. She didn't understand what was happening. She was just scared. My hand hesitated on the fog machine trigger. She was my daughter. I loved her. I was terrifying her. I remembered her at 7, crying after thunderstorms. At 15, scared before surgery. At 25, collapsing in my arms at her mother's funeral. She didn't know, I whispered. She's not part of this. Then Fletcher entered the kitchen on camera. Maud looked up. Fletcher, I'm scared. Stop crying. You're embarrassing me. Not, are you okay? Not, let's leave. Just his embarrassment. Maud wiped her tears. Sorry, I'm sorry. My doubt evaporated. I triggered the fog machine. Battery powered, positioned near the AC vent. Cold mist flowed into the first floor. Complete panic. The remaining couple fled. Fletcher's friend, phone out, recording, stopped filming, and ran. Only Fletcher and Maud remained. Fletcher stood in fog-filled living room, flashlight sweeping. I know you're here, old man. Show yourself. I spoke into the phone. Orville, final line. Say, Act 1 complete. Act 1? Dad, how many acts are you planning? This is a 3-act play, son. Maybe 4. Just say the line. Orville's voice echoed through the house. Act 1 complete. I cut the effect, turned off fog. Thanks, son. I'll explain later. Hung up. Flipped the main breaker. Lights flooded the house. Through the camera, Fletcher spun around, squinting. The house was normal, empty except him and Maud. Trashed, broken glasses, spilled drinks, abandoned coats. The party was destroyed. I sat in my basement, surrounded by equipment, smiled. Opening night success. Then Fletcher looked directly at a security camera, stared into it. He knew they were there, knew I was watching. He walked toward the camera until his face filled the frame, mouthed clearly, I know it was you. He pulled out his phone, typed. My phone buzzed, text from Fletcher. Enjoyed the show, Dad. Professional work, but you just gave me everything I need. Crazy old man terrorizing guests. That'll play well in court. You're proving my case for me. The house will be mine by the end of the month. Thanks for the help. My smile faded. I hadn't considered legal consequences. I was thinking theater, not law. Another text arrived, unknown number. Mr. Sims, this is David Chen from Pacific Northwest Title Company. After our call earlier, I reviewed your property records more thoroughly. We need to meet immediately. There are discrepancies. Call me first thing tomorrow. This is urgent. 2 problems simultaneously. Fletcher threatening legal action. Title company finding discrepancies. I looked up at the ceiling. Fletcher paced above, already planning his counterstrike. I whispered to myself, Act 1 complete, but he's writing Act 2. Morning coffee tasted better than it should have. I'd slept well, 6 solid hours. The villa showed last night's chaos. Wine stain on carpet, broken glass swept into the corner, abandoned coat draped over a chair. But I'd cleaned most of it, methodically, like striking a stage set after closing night. My phone showed missed calls, 3 from Fletcher, 2 from Maud, 1 unknown Portland number. I ignored them, sipped coffee, watched the ocean through the window, gray, calm, morning fog rolling in, perfect metaphor. A car pulled up, aggressive, tires on gravel spraying rocks, door slammed, heavy footsteps on porch, pounding on my door, not knocking, pounding. I set down my coffee, counted to 10, opened the door. Fletcher stood there, face red, eyes bloodshot, still wearing yesterday's clothes, rumpled and stained. Behind him, his car sat at a sharp angle, driver's door hanging open. He'd driven here in pure fury. We need to talk. I leaned against the door frame, casual. Good morning to you too, Fletcher. Coffee? Don't. His voice was raw. Don't play innocent. You sabotaged my party. Power outage? Oh my, old wiring, you know. These old houses have character. You did this. You ruined everything. I tilted my head. I don't know what you mean. Maybe the house doesn't like strangers? His hands clenched, unclenched. I will sue you. You cost me everything. Sue me for what? A power failure? Fletcher, you sound paranoid. He stepped closer. I could smell the whiskey on his breath. Morning whiskey. Never a good sign. I know it was you. I know. You know nothing, but I'm learning quite a bit about you. I paused. Maybe the house doesn't like thieves. What does that mean? Leave, Fletcher. You're upsetting my morning coffee. He looked like an angry tomato. A very expensive angry tomato, wearing a $200 shirt. I wondered if you could sue someone for making you look like produce. He left. Nearly took the door off its hinges. I closed it, locked it, sat back down with my coffee. My hand shook slightly. The performance had been exhausting, but I was energized too. This was war now. Open warfare. I pulled out my phone, dialed a number I hadn't called in years. Warren, it's Hosea Sims. Remember how you always said you owed me a favor? 2 days later, Warren Gable sat on my terrace with a manila folder. Mid-60s, retired LAPD detective turned private investigator. We'd worked together on film security in the 80s. He spread photos across the table. These people aren't business contacts. They're real estate investors. All of them. Every single one. This couple, he pointed, flips luxury properties. This guy, commercial developer. This woman, private equity, specializes in coastal real estate. Fletcher was selling my house. Trying to. Warren slid another document across. Power of attorney, filed 3 weeks ago. I picked it up, read it. My blood went cold. Maud's signature, right there, recent, dated 10 days ago. Your daughter signed. Whether she knew what it meant, I can't tell you. She knew. My voice came out flat. She had to know. Maybe. Or maybe Fletcher lied to her, too. You should talk to her. No, not yet. I need to understand everything first. Warren nodded, spread more photos. After last night's paranormal incident, several posted on social media that your house might be haunted. You're trending in local real estate groups. Trending? Someone called it Oregon's Amityville. Fletcher's not getting his asking price now. Warren's face stayed deadpan. You've successfully made your own house unsellable. Congratulations. Sometimes revenge is more about the journey. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. You worked in Hollywood for 20 years. Point taken. That afternoon, I drove to Astoria, 45 minutes north along the coast. Attorney Serafina Fox had an office overlooking the Columbia River. She was mid-50s, sharp, expensive suit, no-nonsense eyes. I showed her everything, Warren's report, the documents, the timeline. She reviewed it all, made notes, asked pointed questions. Finally, this is fraud, Mr. Sims, but proving it will take time, 6 months, maybe more. Meanwhile, they could complete the sale. The walls closed in slightly. You need leverage, something immediate, something that makes Fletcher want to drop this voluntarily. What kind of leverage? That's not my expertise. I handle law. You need to handle psychology. I drove home in silence, mind working, leverage. Fletcher's weakness wasn't legal, it was social, financial, reputational. That's where I'd strike. My phone rang as I pulled into the driveway. Orville. Dad, we need to talk about your sister. What about Maud? She signed documents, power of attorney, giving Fletcher authority over your property. Long pause. I'd known this was coming. Didn't make it easier. I know, son. You know? His voice rose. Dad, she signed. Whether she understood what she was signing, I don't know yet. I'm going to call her, right now. No, not yet. I need to know if she knew what she was doing. You think she'd choose him over you? I stared at the ocean. I don't know anymore, son. I don't know. That evening, I played Fletcher's voicemail for Warren, the one he'd left after the confrontation. Fletcher's voice recorded, You think you're clever, old man? That little stunt cost me 6 months of work. Months. You have no idea what you've done. Those investors won't touch this property now. They think it's cursed. I will make you pay for this. Legally, financially, whatever it takes. You're going to regret crossing me. And when I take this house, and I will take it, you'll remember this moment. You'll remember you brought this on yourself. Click. Warren looked at me. He's rattled. Good. Rattled people make mistakes. So do old men planning revenge. I need to be smarter than him. My phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. Mr. Sims, this is Patricia Graham. We met briefly at your home 2 nights ago, the party. I recognized the name. One of the investors, the woman who'd fled during the haunting. Yes, Ms. Graham, I remember. I wanted to call personally. After what happened, the power failure, the strange sounds, I did some research on your property, public records. I hope you don't mind. My hand tightened on the phone. Research? Yes, and Mr. Sims, I think you should know. The ownership documentation Fletcher Morrison provided doesn't match county records. He claimed power of attorney, but when I verified with the title company, There are discrepancies, significant ones. I sat up straight. What kind of discrepancies? The kind that suggest fraud. Mr. Sims, were you aware Fletcher was trying to sell your property? Another call came through. Caller ID. Maud. Ms. Graham, can I call you back? I need to take this call. Of course, Mr. Sims. Be careful. Whatever Fletcher is planning, it's not legal. I work in real estate. I know fraud when I see it. I switched calls. Hello, sweetheart. Maud's voice was shaking. Dad, what's happening? Fletcher says you're trying to sabotage him. He says you're sick, confused. But I found documents in his office, papers with my signature. Dad, what did I sign? Her voice cracked. I closed my eyes. This was the moment. Maud, we need to talk, face to face. Can you come to the villa tomorrow without Fletcher? Long pause. He told me not to talk to you alone. He said you'd try to manipulate me. And yet you're calling me. Another pause, longer. Tomorrow, noon, I'll come alone. She hung up. I sat in the growing darkness. Patricia Graham knew about the fraud. Maud was starting to question Fletcher. The pieces were moving. But which way? I prepared the villa like I was staging a scene. Coffee brewing, fresh sunflowers on the kitchen table, her favorite, everything non-threatening, safe, fatherly. I needed her to tell the truth without Fletcher's influence. 11:45. Her car pulled up. She sat in the driver's seat for 2 full minutes before getting out. I watched from the window. Nervous, scared maybe. She wore casual clothes, sunglasses hiding her eyes, hair pulled back. She looked young, vulnerable, my daughter. She knocked. I opened immediately. Come in, sweetheart. We sat at the kitchen table, coffee between us. Did you know Fletcher was trying to sell my house? Her face showed genuine shock. No, that's not... He said the papers were estate planning, protecting your assets if something happened to you. I slid Warren's report across the table. These people weren't business partners. They were real estate investors. She read. Her hand started shaking. I showed her the POA documents. Your signature is here, authorizing sale and transfer of property. I didn't... He told me it was for your protection, in case you got sick. Her voice broke. He said the 2018 documents needed updating. Read the language. Authorize sale and transfer of property. Does that sound like protection? She started crying. Real tears, devastating realization flooding her face. He lied to me. Dad, I swear I didn't know. I would never... I believe you, but you signed without reading. You trusted him over your own judgment. I thought he loved me. I thought we were building a life. He loves money, Maud. You were convenient. I was convenient. We're both just assets to him. What do? You decide who you are, his accomplice or my daughter. You can't be both. She left an hour later, shaken, promising to think about everything. I drove back to Astoria. Serafina had prepared aggressive filings, fraud complaints, emergency court petitions, formal complaints to title company and state bar. We submitted everything electronically. This won't stop him immediately, she warned, but it'll slow him down and create legal jeopardy. Good, I want jeopardy. That afternoon, I made my social media move, drafted a post for the Cannon Beach Community Facebook group, careful, factual, sympathetic. I'm a longtime Cannon Beach resident seeking advice. My son-in-law recently attempted to sell my home without my knowledge using falsified power of attorney documents. He hosted a party that was actually a showing for investors. I discovered this only after the fact. Has anyone dealt with elder financial abuse? Can anyone recommend attorneys who handle estate fraud? Posted it. Within minutes, comments flooded in. Who did this? Name them. This is terrible. I waited 30 minutes, then added an edit. The individual in question is Fletcher Morrison, currently residing in Portland. The response exploded. People I'd never met defended me. Stories about Fletcher being arrogant at local businesses. Someone mentioned him arguing with servers at a restaurant. Another recalled him being rude at the farmer's market. The pile-on was beautiful. Then I got bold, added more aggressive language. This man is a con artist who preyed on my trust and manipulated my daughter. Within an hour, my phone rang. Serafina. Hosea, what did you post? Con artist? Predator? Those are legally actionable terms. But he did prey on me. Doesn't matter. Without criminal conviction, you can't call someone a criminal in public. Take it down. Now. Edit to remove all inflammatory language. I had to soften everything. Lost momentum. Learned a lesson. Righteous anger must stay within legal boundaries. Meanwhile, Orville worked his magic from Texas. He compiled public records. Fletcher's 3 bank loans totaling $180,000. 2 tax liens. 1 pending lawsuit from a former business partner claiming Fletcher embezzled $35,000. Created a professional PDF. Sent it anonymously to Fletcher's creditors with a note. Subject is attempting to liquidate assets through fraudulent means. Recommend immediate collection action. By evening, Fletcher received 3 calls from creditors demanding immediate payment. His financial pressure became critical. Then Fletcher called me, screaming. I recorded it. "You senile bastard! You're destroying my life. I'll sue you into oblivion. Fletcher, you tried to steal my house. I'm simply telling the truth. If the truth destroys you, that's your problem. I will take everything from you. You already tried. You failed. Good night, Fletcher." I hung up, smiled. That night, neighbors near Fletcher and Maud's Portland house heard a massive fight. Shouting, crying, doors slamming. One neighbor later reported to Maud's friend who told me, Fletcher yelled, "Your father ruined us! We're losing everything. This is your fault for being so weak." And Maud's response, "No, this is your fault for being a liar." The marriage fractured. Late evening, I sat on my terrace, exhausted but satisfied. My phone showed Maud's text. "I'll testify. Whatever you need." I'd won my daughter back, partially. Fletcher was financially and socially cornered, but I was cautious now. The defamation threat taught me Fletcher still had legal weapons. My phone rang. Unknown number. "Mr. Sims, this is Detective Sarah Morrison with Cannon Beach Police Department." My stomach dropped. "Yes, Detective?" "We received a complaint this evening. Fletcher Morrison claims you've been harassing him, threatening phone calls, defamatory social media posts, and he's alleging you may have tampered with his property during a party at your home last week. He's requesting we investigate possible criminal mischief." My mind raced. Criminal mischief. The haunting. Fletcher was flipping the narrative. "Detective, I haven't harassed anyone. I've been defending myself against fraud." "I understand, sir, but we need to investigate formal complaints. Would you be willing to come to the station tomorrow for a voluntary statement?" "Am I being charged with something?" "No, sir. This is preliminary. But Mr. Morrison has provided evidence, a video of unusual occurrences at your property, and witness statements from party guests." The video, Fletcher kept it. "I'll need to consult my attorney." "That's your right, Mr. Sims, but I'd appreciate your cooperation. Mr. Morrison is claiming elderly abuse, that you're not mentally competent and may be a danger to yourself or others." Elderly abuse, mental incompetence. He was trying to flip everything. "Detective, Fletcher Morrison tried to steal my house through fraudulent documents. I have evidence. I have attorneys working on this." "I'm sure you do, sir. But my concern is the alleged harassment and criminal mischief." She gave me a case number, asked me to call tomorrow. I hung up, sat in darkness. Fletcher just turned law enforcement against me. My phone buzzed. Text from Fletcher. "Told you I'd destroy you, old man. How does it feel being investigated by police? This is just the beginning." I stared at the text, then at the ocean. Then I smiled. Cold smile. Picked up my phone. Called Serafina's emergency line. "Serafina, it's Hosea. Fletcher just escalated. He's weaponizing the police. We need to go nuclear." Serafina's office. Early morning, emergency meeting. I spread everything on her desk. Police complaint, Fletcher's threatening text, the whole mess. She reviewed documents, made notes. "Fletcher's trying to criminalize your self-defense. We need to flip the narrative before this gains traction." I sat across from her. Tired, focused. Last night's police call had shaken me. Criminal investigation, mental competency questions. I was 68, alone, fighting a younger man with legal resources. For the first time, I wondered if I was outmatched. My phone buzzed. Text from Orville. "Dad, check your email. Now. Found something." I opened email. Video file. Message. Fletcher's friend posted this to Instagram the night of the party. He deleted it after 24 hours, but I grabbed it from cache. "This is gold. Watch it." I played the video. 30 seconds of the haunting. fog, voice, panic. The friend's face appeared on camera mid-recording. "This is insane! Fletcher said it was his house, but there's a ghost." I looked up at Serafina, smiled slowly. "I think we just found our counterattack." She analyzed the file metadata. Timestamp shows 11:08 p.m. GPS data confirms the location, and Fletcher's on camera saying, "This is my house," repeatedly, before any POA transfer was complete. So it proves intent to defraud, and since his friend posted it publicly before deletion, it's public domain. We can use it however we want. Orville called. "Dad, what if we post this publicly? Let the internet do our work." I hesitated. Maud was in some of the footage. This would humiliate her further. Serafina watched my face. Truth isn't revenge. Truth is just truth. I made the decision. Post it, but frame it carefully. We're exposing fraud, not attacking Fletcher personally. Orville worked his magic. Created a TikTok account, Justice for Elders. Posted the video with caption, "When you try to steal your father-in-law's house and the house fights back, Oshkar elder abuse, Yabachkar karma, is real, I am fraud exposed." Text overlay explained context. "This man attempted to sell my father's home through fraudulent documents. This is what happened when the house disagreed. 6 hours, 100,000 views. 24 hours, 1.2 million. 48 hours, 2.3 million views. The algorithm loved it. Drama, justice, supernatural elements, underdog story. Comments flooded in by thousands. This is why you respect your elders. Karma came for him fast. The house said no thank you. News outlets picked it up. Local Oregon stations, then regional, then national clips on morning shows. Fletcher became a meme. His professional life crumbled fast. 2 consulting clients emailed termination notices citing reputational concerns. His LinkedIn showed connection requests being withdrawn. 3 days after the video posted, Maud called. "Dad, what have you done? We're destroyed. I can't go outside without people recognizing me. Someone threw a drink at Fletcher at a coffee shop. My friends won't return my calls." My response was cold, measured. "You signed fraud documents? You chose this." "I didn't know it was fraud. Fletcher said you agreed. He said it was estate planning. You'd approved everything." First real crack in my certainty. She sounded genuinely devastated, genuinely ignorant. "Maud, ignorance isn't an excuse. You signed away my home without asking me directly. I trusted my husband. I thought he loved me. I thought we were building a life. I didn't know he was lying about everything." I felt a pang of sympathy, only a pang. "Then you chose poorly. We both did. I trusted him to be decent. You trusted him to be honest. We were both wrong." She hung up sobbing. That evening, Serafina forwarded Fletcher's counterattack. He was suing me for $500,000, emotional distress, defamation, loss of business income. His attorney argued I deliberately terrorized guests, manufactured a viral video, and destroyed Fletcher's reputation through false accusations of fraud. The lawsuit was aggressive, detailed, professionally crafted. Fletcher was fighting back hard. Court date set, 1 week away. While the video spread, I provided a copy with metadata to Cannon Beach Police. Included written statement. This video shows Mr. Morrison claiming ownership of my property before any legal transfer. His police complaint is retaliation for my resistance to fraud. The detective called 2 days later. "Mr. Sims, I'm calling about Fletcher Morrison's complaint. Have you seen the video evidence I provided?" "Yes, that's why I'm calling. The video shows him claiming ownership before any legal transfer. That's problematic for his narrative." "So you're dropping the investigation?" "I'm shifting focus. I need to interview Mr. Morrison about possible fraud." Small victory. Police investigation pivoted to Fletcher. I updated my Facebook post with a link to the TikTok. New evidence has emerged supporting my claims. The truth speaks for itself. Community response was overwhelming. Cannon Beach rallied around me publicly. 1 week later, morning of the full hearing. I arrived at the courthouse in Astoria with Serafina. We were early, preparing in a conference room. She reviewed strategy. "We have everything we need, the video, the documents, Maud's statement. Fletcher's case will collapse. I should have felt confident. Then Serafina's phone rang. Her face went pale. What? When? Pause. Are you certain? She hung up, looked at me. That was the court clerk. Fletcher just filed emergency motion. He's claiming new evidence that changes everything. What evidence? A psychiatric evaluation from a doctor claiming you're suffering from dementia and paranoid delusions. Fletcher's arguing the entire haunting was a symptom of mental illness. You fabricated the fraud narrative, and you need emergency psychiatric intervention for your own safety. I stared. That's insane. I know, but he's got a doctor's signature on official letterhead. Dr. Marcus Fleming, geriatric psychiatrist. Claims he evaluated you 3 months ago and diagnosed early-stage dementia with paranoid features. I've never met a Dr. Fleming in my life. Then it's fraud, but it's fraud with official documentation. Her phone buzzed, text from court. Hearing delayed 2 hours for emergency psychiatric evaluation of plaintiff Hosea Sims. I looked at Serafina. He's going to put me on trial for being old and crazy. She nodded grimly. And if it works, everything else becomes delusions of an incompetent man. Outside the conference room, Fletcher arrived with his attorney. He looked confident, almost smug. He'd set a trap, and I'd walked right into it. 2 hours later, courtroom. Dr. Marcus Fleming sat in the witness box. Late 50s, gray beard, expensive suit, professional demeanor. I leaned toward Serafina, whispered, I've never seen this man before in my life. She whispered back, I know, just wait, let him testify, give him enough rope. Fletcher sat across the aisle, relaxed for the first time in days. He thought this was working. Dr. Fleming spoke. In my professional opinion, Mr. Sims exhibited clear signs of paranoid delusions, memory inconsistencies, and confusion about recent events. His insistence that family members were conspiring against him is a classic presentation of dementia-related paranoia. Serafina stood. Objection, Your Honor. Foundation. Dr. Fleming hasn't established when or how he evaluated Mr. Sims. The judge, woman, 60s, sharp eyes, looked up. Sustained. Dr. Fleming, please establish the basic facts of your evaluation before offering conclusions. Fleming detailed his alleged sessions. 3 appointments over 2 weeks in March, tests administered, observations made. It sounded professional, thorough, believable. Fletcher leaned back, whispered to his attorney, This is working. Then Serafina began cross-examination. Dr. Fleming, where did you conduct this evaluation? At my office in Portland. What's the address? He provided one. Serafina made notes. And you saw Mr. Sims how many times? 3 sessions over 2 weeks. What dates specifically? He referenced notes. March 15th, March 22nd, and March 29th of this year. And Mr. Sims came to your Portland office on those dates? Correct. Serafina smiled, cold. Your Honor, I'd like to introduce Exhibits D1 through D3. She handed documents to the clerk. These are credit card statements from my client showing his locations on the dates Dr. Fleming claims to have evaluated him. The judge reviewed. And what do they show? On March 15th, Mr. Sims was in Los Angeles attending a film sound designers reunion. On March 22nd, he was in Seattle visiting his son. On March 29th, he was at a doctor's appointment in Astoria. He was never in Portland on any of those dates. Fleming's face went pale. Serafina continued. Furthermore, Dr. Fleming's medical license in Oregon was suspended 18 months ago for ethical violations. He's not legally authorized to practice psychiatry in this state. Silence. Complete silence. The judge's voice went icy. Dr. Fleming, are you currently licensed to practice medicine in Oregon? Fleming stammered. There were some administrative issues. Yes or no? No, Your Honor. So you fabricated an evaluation of a man you never met, using a license you don't have, and presented it to this court as evidence. Long pause. Fleming looked at Fletcher, panicked, then back to the judge. Mr. Morrison paid me to... Fletcher half stood. I didn't... The judge slammed her gavel. Sit down, Mr. Morrison. To Fleming. Continue. Fleming, defeated. Mr. Morrison contacted me, offered $15,000 to create a psychiatric evaluation, showing Mr. Sims was incompetent. He provided details to make it believable. I needed the money. My practice collapsed after losing my license. I'm sorry. Explosion. Fletcher's attorney tried damage control. Fletcher yelled, "He's lying!" The judge ordered the bailiff to remove Fleming, held him in contempt, indicated she'd refer for criminal prosecution. 10-minute recess. When we returned, the judge was barely containing fury. "Mr. Walsh, does your client have any legitimate defenses, or should I dismiss his entire lawsuit now?" Walsh, sweating. "Your Honor, my client maintains his original claims. The claims based on Mr. Morrison's assertion that Mr. Sims is mentally incompetent. The incompetence we just proved doesn't exist." Walsh had no response. The judge turned to Serafina. "Ms. Fox, do you have counterclaims?" "Yes, Your Honor. We'd like to call Maud Morrison as witness." Fletcher whispered urgently to Walsh, "No, don't let her testify." Too late. Maud approached the witness stand, pale, shaking. She was sworn in, sat. Serafina, surprisingly gentle. "Mrs. Morrison, did you sign power of attorney documents authorizing your husband to sell your father's property?" Maud, quiet. "Yes." "Did you understand what you were signing?" Long pause. Tears. "No. Fletcher told me it was estate planning, protecting Dad if something happened. He said Dad had agreed." "Did you verify this with your father?" "No." Her voice broke. "I trusted my husband." "When did you learn the truth?" "When Dad showed me the documents, when I saw what I'd actually signed." She was crying now. "I didn't know. I swear I didn't know." Fletcher hissed, "Shut up, Maud." The judge. "Mr. Morrison, one more outburst and you'll join Dr. Fleming in contempt." Serafina continued. "Did your husband tell you he was in significant debt?" "Not until everything fell apart." "Did he tell you he planned to use the proceeds from selling your father's house to pay those debts?" Maud looked at Fletcher. He was glaring, shaking his head. She looked away. "Yes. After Dad exposed everything, he said we needed the money, that it was family money anyway. We deserved it." Fletcher lost control, stood, yelled, "Shut up! You don't know what you're talking about." "Mr. Morrison, sit down." "She's lying! She knew everything!" His attorney grabbed his arm. "Fletcher, stop talking." Fletcher shook him off. "No, I'm not going down alone. She signed those documents." The judge slammed her gavel repeatedly. "Bailiff, remove Mr. Morrison from this courtroom." Fletcher, being escorted out. "This is injustice. That old man destroyed my life." The judge. "If anyone's incompetent here, Mr. Morrison, it's you. Get him out." After Maud's testimony, Serafina moved for summary judgment. The judge granted everything, dismissed Fletcher's lawsuit with prejudice, invalidated the POA, awarded attorney fees to me, referred Fletcher to the DA for criminal prosecution. Total legal victory. Outside the courthouse, Maud approached me on the steps. "Dad, can we talk?" I turned, saw her. "I don't know if we have anything to say. I need you to know I didn't know what I was signing. I truly didn't. I believe you, but you should have asked me directly. I know, and I'll regret that for the rest of my life." Pause. "I'm filing for divorce. I'm leaving him." "Good. Can you ever forgive me?" I stared at the court documents in my hand. This would destroy them. Completely. My hand hesitated over the signature. Then I'd signed. Long pause now. "Eventually, but not today. You hurt me, Maud. I understand. I just needed you to know I'm sorry, and I'll testify against him in any criminal trial." "Thank you, that helps." "Do you still love me?" "Yes, but love and trust are different things. You'll have to earn the second one back." 3 days later. Peace. Relative peace. My terrace. Evening ocean. For the first time in weeks, I felt calm. My phone rang. Serafina. "Hosea, we have a development. Fletcher filed for bankruptcy." Chapter 7. "He's claiming he has no assets and can't pay your legal fees." My jaw tightened. "Can he do that?" "Yes, but there's more. His bankruptcy filing lists his debts. He owes $220,000 to Pacific Lending Partners. That's his biggest debt. So, I looked them up. Real estate investment firm, and guess who's on their board? I waited. Marcus Chen, one of the investors from your party. I processed this. The investor is also Fletcher's creditor? Yes, and Pacific Lending filed an emergency motion contesting the bankruptcy. They're claiming Fletcher is hiding assets. They want the bankruptcy court to investigate. Meaning? They're going after him, and they want your testimony. She paused. But, Hosea, there's something else. Marcus Chen called me directly. He wants to meet with you. He said, and I quote, "I want to buy the villa. Legitimate offer. No games this time. $950,000 cash. Close in 30 days. I stared at the ocean. The villa. My home for 20 years. The thing I'd fought so hard to protect. He wants to buy my house? Yes, above market value. I think it's guilt. This is his way of making it right. By taking the house anyway? By giving you the choice. Fletcher tried to force you out. Marcus is offering you an exit. Premium price. Your terms." I sat in silence. The ocean sounded like it always does. The villa stood solid behind me. But Maud was gone. Orville lived in Texas. I was alone in a big house, getting older. Maybe the villa wasn't home anymore. Maybe it was just a building. "Serafina, tell Marcus I'll think about it." "That's all?" "That's all." I hung up, looked at the ocean, looked at the villa. Wondered, did I fight for the house or for the principal? And if it was the principal and I won, did I still need the house? 1 week after the bankruptcy news, I sat in Serafina's office. Decision made. Tell Marcus thank you, but no. This villa is mine. I fought for it. I'm keeping it. She nodded. I understand. But there's something else. The DA filed formal charges against Fletcher this morning. 3 counts of fraud, 1 count of attempted elder abuse, 2 counts of perjury. He's being arraigned this afternoon. Will I need to testify? Eventually, but today's just arraignment. If you want to be there to see him face formal charges, the courthouse is public. I decided I would go, not to gloat, to witness justice. There's a difference. The courtroom was half empty. Afternoon arraignment, routine docket. Fletcher stood at defendant's table in a rumpled suit, the same one from his courthouse meltdown, cleaned but still shabby. His public defender stood beside him, young woman with a stack of case files. Overworked, tired, no Gregory Walsh with his expensive suit and aggressive confidence. The judge read charges slowly, formally. Count 1, fraud in the first degree, a Class C felony. Count 2, financial exploitation of an elderly person, a Class B felony. With each count, Fletcher's shoulders dropped incrementally. By count 5, he was hunched, diminished. When the judge asked, "How do you plead?" Fletcher's voice was barely audible. Not guilty. Everyone knew it was temporary. He'd take a plea deal eventually, serve 3, maybe 4 years. I watched from the back row, felt no joy, just confirmation. It was really over. After, on the courthouse steps, Fletcher exited with his public defender. She whispered, "Just keep walking, don't engage." But Fletcher saw me waiting at the bottom, stopped, walked down to my level. We stood 3 feet apart. "You won," he said. "Are you happy?" I studied him. This broken man who tried to steal my life. Not yet, but I will be. What more can you take? I've lost everything. I'm going to prison. What more do you want? I want you to understand what you did, not just that it was illegal, that it was wrong. I needed the money. I was desperate. I understand desperation. I don't understand theft. Fletcher looked away, toward the street, anywhere but my eyes. I'm sorry, for whatever that's worth now. I considered. Probably he was sorry he got caught, sorry about consequences, less sorry about the actual harm. It's worth very little, but it's a start. A start toward what? Toward becoming someone who doesn't steal from elderly people. He winced, the reality of prison hanging over him. You called me old and forgetful. Turns out this old man remembers everything, including how to destroy someone who threatens him. Fletcher nodded slowly. Yeah, I learned that. He turned to leave, stopped. For what it's worth, I really did think you wouldn't mind losing the villa. I thought you'd be fine. Then you weren't thinking at all. Goodbye, Fletcher. He walked away, didn't look back, got into a beat-up Honda, drove off. I watched until he was gone, felt empty. I won, but winning felt hollow. I drove to a beach overlook north of Cannon Beach, parked, sat watching waves for an hour, thought about Fletcher's words. I'm going to prison. 3 years, maybe 4. Because I documented everything, pursued every avenue, never let go. Was that justice? Or revenge dressed as justice? Thought about Maud, her testimony in court, crying, her text, "I'll testify against him," choosing me over Fletcher, but too late to save our relationship. I won the war, but lost my daughter. Is a villa worth that? I didn't know. Over the next 2 weeks, I executed final moves. Updated my will, crystal clear disinheritance of Maud, not spite, protection, everything to Orville and charity. Sent anonymous packets to Fletcher's creditors detailing the bankruptcy. Within days, 3 filed objections. Fletcher's financial tangles multiplied. His life continued downward. Bankruptcy contested. Divorce finalized. Moved to cheap apartment in Beaverton. Took job as assistant manager at Target. 2 weeks after the arraignment, I sat on my terrace at sunset. Orville called. "Dad, I saw the news. Fletcher's bankrupt. It's over." "Yeah, it's over." "Was it worth it?" I looked at the ocean, the villa behind me, the empty space where family gatherings used to be. "Ask me in a year." "That's not an answer." "It's the only one I have right now." 3 months later, summer arrived on the Oregon coast. The villa stood exactly as I'd left it, maintained, secure, empty. I'd established a routine: morning coffee, beach walks, afternoons organizing my basement studio. 40 years of sound equipment, archived and cataloged. Someone should document it before I'm gone, and it's all just junk. Maud texted sporadically. "How are you?" "Thinking of you." "Can we talk?" I replied politely but briefly. "I'm fine. Thank you." "Not yet." The distance maintained. Then, one Saturday morning in August, my doorbell rang. Maud stood there, nervous, holding a small bakery box. "I brought your favorite, lemon scones from that place in Manzanita." She was thinner, hair shorter, simple jeans and t-shirt, no makeup, no jewelry. She looked younger without all the trappings, but sadder. "Can I come in?" I stepped aside. We sat at the kitchen table, coffee brewing, the same table where I'd shown her the fraud evidence months ago. She started several times, stopped, started again. "I've been working with a therapist, trying to understand how I let this happen." I listened. I told myself I didn't know, that I was innocent, that I was just naive. She looked at her coffee. "But that's not entirely true. There were signs, questions I didn't ask, details I ignored. I chose not to see because seeing would have meant confronting my marriage." "Yes," I said simply. "My therapist calls it willful blindness. I didn't want to know, so I didn't look. And that's still a choice, still my responsibility." "It is." "Dad, I'm so sorry." Her voice cracked. "I'm sorry I signed those documents. I'm sorry I didn't ask you directly. I'm sorry I chose believing Fletcher over protecting you." "I know. Can you forgive me?" Long pause. I looked at my daughter, 40 years old, broken by her choices, genuinely remorseful. I thought of her as a child, as a teenager, before Fletcher. "Yes," I said finally. "I forgive you." She started crying, relief flooding through. "But," I continued, "I don't forget. You chose him over me. You signed documents without verifying. Forgiveness doesn't erase that. It doesn't restore what was." "I understand." "Do you?" "Because our relationship changed. We can rebuild something, but it won't be what it was. Trust, once broken this badly, doesn't fully heal. It scars." "I know. I just needed you to know I'm sorry, and I'll spend the rest of my life proving I'm better." "Good. Start by being better. Not proving, being." We sat in silence, drinking coffee, eating scones. The apology accepted. The relationship redefined. The future uncertain, but possible. After, I showed her my basement studio, the archived equipment. 40 years of sound design. Someone should document it before it's all just junk. "You're not going anywhere, Dad." "I'm 68. Eventually I will." We spent an hour going through my collection, healing in a way. The following week, Marcus Chen called, asked to visit. He arrived with expensive wine and apology. "I was part of Fletcher's scheme, even if I didn't know it. I'm sorry." We sat on the terrace. He explained, "I'm actually a documentary producer. Real estate investing is my side business. When I saw that viral video, I started researching you. Hosea Sims, legendary sound designer, and then this incredible revenge story. It's perfect for a documentary series." I laughed. "You want to make a movie about me haunting my house?" I want to make a series about your career and what Fletcher tried to do, and how you used your professional skills to defend yourself. 6 episodes, Netflix is interested. Sounds exploitative. It would be if we were exploiting you, but you'd be executive producer, full creative control. I considered. My first instinct was no. But then I thought, my whole career was about creating experiences, about art. What if I could transform this trauma into narrative I controlled? What's in it for you? Profit, but also, it's a great story. Financial abuse happens to elderly people every day. Most don't fight back. You did. Using Hollywood skills to defend your home? That's worth telling. I need to think about it. 2 weeks later, I signed the contract. Profits split. 30% production, 70% to Orville and grandchildren. Film crew arrived in September. They documented everything. Interviews about my Hollywood career, my sound equipment, the fraud attempt, carefully recreating the haunting for dramatic purposes. One morning, camera followed me to the beach. I was carrying a surfboard, took it up again after Fletcher's defeat, reclaiming youth and vitality. At 68, I was moderate, careful, but alive, paddled out, caught a small wave, stood briefly, fell laughing into the water, climbed back on board, waved at camera, yelled, "The show must go on." I sat on my board beyond the break, sunrise painting the sky, looked back at my villa on the cliff, my home, secure, mine, smiled. The camera kept rolling. People ask if I'd do it again, I said to the lens. Wrong question. The right question is, would I defend my home again? Always. The cost, already paid, the show, still going. I paddled toward shore, caught a wave. The ocean felt clean. I breathed it in, all of it. If you like this story, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share your impressions of this story in the comments. To listen to the next story, click on the box on the left. Thank you for watching.